Welcome to Wake Up with Nat. I am your host, Natalie Kelly, and this feels crazy, y'all. I am so excited to be here, mic in hand, ready to yap to y'all every single Tuesday on the podcast. I also want you to note the nails. I'm having imposter syndrome. I went on a wild ride today simply to find press-on nails for this intro episode. I said the nails got to be looking good while I'm holding this mic. I also whipped out the rings again today. I don't know what's happening. The podcast is changing me. I am a changed woman, and I'm so excited to be here with you. If you are new to my world and you don't really have context of me, first of all, I am going to link an Instagram post in the show notes that dives very deep into my journey, and you can just get a little more semblance of who I am and maybe why you'll be interested in listening to Wake Up Nat. If you are not new here, I'm just still going to do a little recap. Hi, I'm Nat. I'm a 29-year-old self-employed girly living near Sacramento, California. I live with my girlfriend, Kate, our golden retriever, Brooks, and I'm a very multi-passionate person. I love running and wellness and reading and self-care and nature and putting outfits together and baking and crafting and so many things. And this podcast is going to be kind of a showcasing of my multi-passionateness, which is not a word, but today it is. I actually used to have a podcast back in about 2019, 2020, when I was running my first business, Plenty and Well. I was a mindset coach for folks with chronic illnesses. I have an autoimmune disease, if you didn't know. And I ran that business for about 4.5 years. And that podcast was all about living well with chronic illness, my journey with chronic illness. It was very, very niched down. And that is something that now approaching 30, it kind of just feels so full circle to be starting a new podcast now as an expansion of my brand. It's Natalie Cass, and finally letting myself be all of me. For so much of my life, I felt that I had to fragment myself. I actually started my content journey and my yapping on the internet journey back in 2014 as a food and wellness blogger. Freshman year of college, not a day goes by that I am not so grateful for 18-year-old me for starting a food Instagram in her dingy dorm kitchen. And in that time, I was like, okay, all I can talk about is wellness, recipes, running, very niche. Then when I got diagnosed with a chronic illness and started my first business, I was like, okay, all I can talk about is chronic illness. Then when I started posting about my coming out journey on TikTok, I was like, okay, all I can talk about is coming out and queerness and relationships and things like that. And I always felt like I had to fragment myself in order to be accepted, that people only cared about that one piece of me. And I realize now that I was the only one overthinking that, but I truly was so convinced for so long that, okay, people only care to learn from me or follow me or be in my community because I talk about chronic illness. They don't care about any other aspect of my life. Or especially when I started posting on TikTok of like, they only care about queer topics or my coming out journey. Like nothing else about me is interesting. And this is the first time in my life that I am no longer fragmenting myself because all of it is me. All of it is who I am. And my word for 2025 is unapologetic. And it just feels so aligned that this is now happening. And I'm putting this labor of love into the world and finally letting all of me show up online and in my brand. So when it comes to what to expect on the podcast, there is a lot. We're definitely going to be diving a lot into wellness topics like morning routines and habit changes and things like that, personal development topics, but I'm also going to talk about different journeys as well. My journey with ADHD, definitely my coming out journey and different LGBTQ plus topics, and then also business, content, entrepreneurship. I still work for myself full time. I do content creation, and I also run a business called Solistic Studios where I do business mentorship, content coaching, social media services, etc. And I love talking about that as well, like how to monetize your content, how to get into the content creation sphere, all of that. I also just want it to be so fun. I want it to feel like you are a part of this. Every few episodes, I want to just do super casual life updates, listener Q&As, listener submitted stories. I just want this to feel like a place we can all come together and learn and grow and yap and laugh and just have so much fun. I think something that I am most excited about with this podcast is just continuing to be queer representation in spaces that I never saw myself. I didn't come out until 25, and a big part of that is I, first of all, never saw lesbians that looked like me. I didn't know femme lesbians existed. And in so many of the spaces I was in wellness spaces and, you know, entrepreneurship spaces, I didn't see queer representation. And so I so badly, for so long after I did come out, I was like, oh my gosh, I want more queer creators that talk about wellness and personal development and just these wide array of topics I was interested in. And it just feels so cool to get to do that. And I'm just so excited for this journey. And like I said, episodes will be every Tuesday. Obviously, this one is not on a Tuesday just because it's the launch day. So yay, happy launch day to me and my friend Dominique. Shout out to her. She is a part of the team now as my podcast editor, and I literally couldn't do this without her. But episodes will be every Tuesday on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, etc. And if you aren't following the podcast Instagram yet, definitely go do that. I'll link it in the show notes. It's linked in my own Instagram as well if you already follow me there. That's where I'll make sure to update on episodes, do the listener Q&As, do the listener submitted stories, etc. So you definitely do not want to miss out. There's also so much fun coming in the future. Who knows? Maybe podcast retreats are in the works, as well as a Substack where I will have exclusive content, just, some things I maybe don't want to talk about as publicly, as well as exclusive written content as well, because as much as I love to yap, your girl also likes to write. So there's just so much to come, and I'm just so excited, and I'm honestly just so proud that I'm finally doing the damn thing. Excuse my language, get used to that around here, but truly, I have been saying for years, I want to start another podcast. I want to start another podcast. This podcast mic, it's been getting dusty in my closet since 2020. And I'm here and I'm doing it. And I'm so excited to sit in this little chair with you every week, yap your little heads off, and hang out. So anyways, welcome to Wake Up with Nat. And you might be wondering, lastly, why Wake Up with Nat? Well, one, y'all probably know I love my mornings. And my hope is that these podcast episodes can be a fun way for you to wake up with me, make a cozy bev, maybe go on your morning walk, listen to this while you're getting ready in the morning, or your morning commute if you're driving to work or school or whatever. And also hoping that these episodes really can help you kind of like wake up to new ways of living, wake up to new ways that you want to change your relationship with yourself, or, just wake up to your truest potential, your biggest potential. I feel like that is kind of the culmination of my journey these last 10 years, which is kind of where I feel like truly my journey of becoming who I am began 10 years ago. There were so many moments of just waking up to new layers of myself, new passions, obviously new identities, and waking up to my sexuality and all of these different things. And I wouldn't be who I am today if none of that journey had happened. But mostly, I hope that this podcast just kind of feels like a big hug and a fun place for you to learn and grow and feel in community and feel accepted. And hopefully it's also your permission slip to just be all of you, be multi-passionate, I was going to say messy, but my therapist has told me I can no longer call myself messy or chaotic because there's negative connotations. So shout out to her. We're not messy and we're not chaotic. And I hope this podcast can show you, even if you are also super multi-passionate, super multi-dimensional, that's okay. And we just have to accept ourselves for that and see it as a gift. So I will see you back here every Tuesday forever.